All right, guys, so right after we finished filming today's episode, the David Bell news dropped, but I didn't want to exclude that from the video, so what we did was we just tacked it on at the end of the show, so make sure you stay tuned for that. But, of course, old Matthew back in time didn't know about the news, so enjoy the latest Browns rumors coming up right now. What's going on, everyone? Welcome into the Cleveland Browns Report by Chat Sports. Matthew Peterson here telling you about our proud sponsor today, which is Mint Mobile. They've got an awesome wireless coverage for the Dawg Pound with plans starting as low as $15 a month. You may have seen some of the ads with actor Ryan Reynolds. Well, he's got a great deal for the Dawg Pound. When you go to mintmobile.com/chatsports, links in the comments and the description of today's show, and I'm proud to tell you more about their awesome benefits and why I made the change later on in the show. But now let's get into the latest Cleveland Browns rumors. So a little peek behind the curtain on what's going on here at Chat Sports, because we had our live show yesterday on Thursday, and we like to repurpose some cuts from that in case you can't tune into the live show. But that show got pretty dated about an hour and a half later when Josh Rosen was signed by the Browns. So I thought it'd be good to kind of just tidy up our rumors roundup from yesterday, keep some of the old stuff, but add some new stuff into the mix as well. So the first segment on today's show is a Deshaun Watson decision coming today, meaning Friday, July 22nd, 2022. I'm giving this 2 Bernie heads, meaning I'm not all the way at 4 Bernie heads, which is Believeland, you can take it to the bank. But I'm also not at 0 Bernie heads, which is fake news. I'm kind of in the middle here because Pro Football Talk, which, whether you like it or not, they're kind of on this Deshaun Watson beat more than anyone else, had an interesting article late last night where they said a Watson decision being dropped on today, Friday, would make a lot of sense. And we're going to look at the reasons why Mike Florio believes that in a moment. But Sue Robinson is looking over the final written briefs as she's been doing since July 12th. And a lot of people expected for a decision to come sometime right around training camp, which is 4 days away. Now, some people believe it could bump into training camp by a day or two, that she would take her time because this was going to be a monumental decision she would make, and she'd have to have a very good explanation for whichever side she really lands on here. Now, the interesting reason of why Mike Florio believes the decision could come today on Friday, key day, by the way, is that last week the Houston Texans settled their 30 cases, and now it could be Watson news coming this Friday. Here's what Florio said. The NFL, if it were being candid, would say it would prefer that the ruling come on Friday afternoon. The NFL Players Association likely would feel the same way. If, as some believe, Watson won't get the kind of significant punishment that many had believed he'd experience, the league and the union have shared interest in trying to reduce the backlash from fans and media over the perception that Watson didn't get the kind of punishment that many believe he deserves. Listen, this is a never-ending roller coaster of being told Watson's getting this many games, Watson news coming on this day. It has been up, down, left, right, backwards, forwards, right? Now, we also heard Mike Florio say a decision could come over July 4th weekend because that's a popular news dump. Didn't happen. We also were told it could come way back when during Memorial Day weekend. So that's why I'm kind of in the middle of, it might come today, and I might be on camera in front of you guys in a couple hours breaking it down. But for the time being, I give it 2 Bernie heads because it is in the time frame of when we were told the decision likely would come. But I've also heard Mike Florio toss out other dates before, and it didn't happen. But I want to talk about real football with you guys for a second here, because I don't know about you, I'm ready to talk about actual football and no longer the Watson drama and rumors. And I want to talk about some AFC North football. So if you had to pick one team to sweep, who would you want to sweep this year? Would it be the Ravens, the Bengals, or the Steelers? Sweeping the Bengals again would be kind of fun to kind of, stick it to the team in Kentucky. But let me know what you think down in the comments. Ravens, Bengals, or Steelers? Personally, if I had to pick one, I'd go with the Steelers. I mean, F Pitt, put it in the comments. That never gets old. But that's the team I would like to see be swept this year because it hasn't been done since 1988. That's a long time to go without sweeping arguably your biggest rival. So that's who I'd pick, but let me know what you're thinking down below. Now listen, at the top of the show, I told you guys about the awesome deal that Mint Mobile, the new wireless provider, is offering everyone, and they got some awesome benefits I want to share with everyone. So not only do they have unlimited talk and text, but they have high-speed data, like I said, running on the nation's largest 5G network. Now, if you're somewhere a little remote, you got to get some work done, you can cook up your mobile hotspot, and boom, you are locked in. They've got plans starting as low as $15 a month when you go to mintmobile.com/chatsports. And probably the greatest benefit of all, you don't have to change your phone. You don't have to change your number. You can do it all from the comfort of your own home with new eSIM technology. You don't have to spend time going into a store. You can do it on your couch while watching the Browns Report. Check it out, mintmobile.com/chatsports. Links in the comments along with the description of today's episode. All right, rumor number 2 on the show are the Browns signing Sheldon Richardson. We've had some reports leak out over the last couple of days. I'm giving this 2 Bernie heads. I might even be talking to 2.5, 3-ish Bernie heads. But for right now, I'll stick it in the middle of people are talking, right? There has been some chatter of Andrew Berry looking at Sheldon Richardson after the reports of Ndamukong Suh being on the Browns' radar were quickly shut down. That was a shortly lived bring Suh to Cleveland. But here's some notes that Mary Kay wrote in a recent article, that the Browns are reportedly interested in bringing back Sheldon Richardson. Of course, he was cut by the Browns last April. And what was a move that we learned, it was one of those, okay, we've got a piece of bulletin board material of, we know something about Andrew Berry now as a GM, which is he does not value the defensive tackle position all that much. He went relatively cheap on it last year, and it worked okay with Malik McDowell and Malik Jackson. He didn't want to pay Sheldon Richardson a lot of money, and Richardson ended up having a good 2021 campaign up in Minneapolis. Played 17 games for the Vikings, started 7 games. I mean, producer Patrick Seatman filling in for Marshall Green right now, a Viking fan. Okay, right now my ear, underrated ear. So he'd be good to, sure, a veteran, an older guy, but a player who produced last season. Now here's what Mary Kay wrote in her article. If they decide to add a veteran defensive tackle, they might consider a familiar face in Sheldon Richardson, 31 years old, who played for them in 2019 to 2020, but returned to the Vikings last season rather than take a huge pay cut from the Browns. And last year with the Vikings, he put up good numbers. As Patrick Seatman, the producer today, just said, underrated year. 3 sacks, 6 tackles for loss, a forced fumble. He did a lot of good things on this Vikings interior defensive line. If you want to check out his Pro Football Focus grades, he ranked 47th out of 109 qualifying defensive tackles. That's better than both Malik McDowell and Jackson last year for the Browns. So when you think about slotting him into this starting depth chart here, I think it would look something like Taven Bryan and Sheldon Richardson. Now, Jordan Elliott, 3rd-round pick out of Mizzou 2 years ago, we're all optimistic he's going to take the next step forward. But Andrew Berry might look at the landscape of this team, especially if a Deshaun Watson decision comes down in the Browns' favor, and he goes, you know what? I'm not in the mood for waiting to see if these young defensive tackles are going to develop. I want to go a different route. I want to go a proven route and bring in Sheldon Richardson, at least include him in the rotation maybe. But I'll let you guys weigh in here. Should the Browns bring back Sheldon Richardson? Type Y for yes or N for no. I want you all to show up and show out down in the comments section with your thoughts on bringing back Richardson. My take on this would be, why not just see if he's in shape, right? Why not bring him into training camp? Now, the pros and cons to this are, pros, you bring him into training camp, and he's the real deal, right? He looks like how he played last year for the Vikings, and yeah, he's an immediate starter on this team alongside most likely Taven Bryan. The cons are, he could steal some valuable training camp reps from Perion Winfrey, Tommy Togiai, Jordan Elliott, guys you want to see make progress early in their career, and Richardson might stunt their growth. And I've talked about that before in the wide receivers, and I don't think it's apples to apples from one position group to another. But I'm open to seeing if he's in football shape and he didn't put on a ton of weight this offseason, why don't you try and get the best starting 11 on defense possible? We've got more rumors to get to in just a moment, but first, I need your guys' help here. I'm trying to reach 11,000 subscribers by week 1, and we've got some work to do. So if you have not subscribed already, please go ahead and do so. That way you can get the best Browns YouTube coverage out there, giving you guys the latest news and rumors on the Brownies. All right, rumor number 3, Jimmy Garoppolo trade rumors, are they dead? Yeah, I'm giving this 3 Bernie heads. I'm not all the way at 4, even though the Josh Rosen signing yesterday probably doesn't help an idea of a Jimmy G trade happening, but I don't think it kills it. I don't think Josh Rosen is the end-all be-all of, well, if they got Rosen, there's no way they're getting Garoppolo now. Now, here's what Mary Kay wrote not long ago, saying the Browns are reportedly not interested in trading for Garoppolo. The 49ers, earlier this week, gave Jimmy G and his agent permission to seek a trade, which to me signals the Niners are not having much success finding a buyer. And I believe the Baker trade probably impacted that a lot, and not in a good way for Garoppolo and the Niners, because if Baker went for a conditional 5th in 2024, you can make the argument that Jimmy G is a better quarterback. Well, he has had more success, but different points in their career, no doubt about it. They're not going to find much better than a conditional 5th, maybe a 4th, but I don't think you're getting much more. So I think a lot of teams are going to look around and go, you know what? What about waiting, right? Because here's what Brad Stainbrook tweeted out, and I think this is very important to keep in mind. When Garoppolo conversations have taken place, they have been considered general conversations and nothing serious at this point. There is a belief by some in Cleveland that Garoppolo could have been released. So if the Browns aren't interested in trading for Jimmy G, that doesn't mean they're not interested in Jimmy G. It could just mean they're interested in waiting for him to be released because they are betting on the Niners that don't want to pay him $24 million to back up Trey Lance this year. They might just wait and go, oh, now that he's been released, let's talk here. Listen, my point of view on this is unless Watson gets a 12-plus game suspension, a trade for Garoppolo seems pretty unlikely at this point. I think they are very content with Jacoby Brissett to weather the storm of if it's 4, 6, 8, maybe even 10 games. Now, if it's a full season suspension, the Browns might get interested and ultimately decide, yeah, let's bring Jimmy G over and let's get weird, right? Let's just get weird this year. Now, here at the Browns Report, we have been doing a fun segment to wrap up the shows lately where I announce 10 reasons why the Browns will win the AFC North in honor of us reaching 10,000 subscribers. Reason number 5, I believe the Steelers will go sub 500. This really doesn't even tie in all that much, to be honest with you guys, about the Browns winning the North, but I didn't want to pass up an opportunity to kind of just stomp on Pittsburgh a little bit here. So if you hate Mike Tomlin and the Steelers team for always finding a way to go 500 or better, or somehow even squeaking into the playoffs last year, fun fact, trivia time, who did the Steelers play last time they played a home playoff game? Who won the last playoff game at Heinz Field? I can't remember. Maybe you guys can help me out in the comments here. But spam F Pitt if you hate the Steelers. It's a rallying call here at the Browns Report by Chat Sports. So if you hate the Pittsburgh Steelers, go down and spam F Pitt in the comment below. All right, so last week during our live show, we had the final to the championship for our stadium name challenge because this story has now been a little old, but we're just wrapping it up here of if the Browns or if the city of Cleveland dumps the name First Energy Stadium, what should we rename it? Because wink, wink, Andrew Barry, the whole city of Cleveland called, and they're like, hey, you guys get to decide. So we let you guys, the voters, decide between Jim Brown Stadium and Lakefront Stadium. And the winner is, drumroll please, Jim Brown Stadium. All right, that's what you guys, the majority, decided on. It's a democracy here at Chat Sports, so that's where we're rolling with if First Energy Stadium is ultimately dumped. I liked Lakefront Stadium. I thought it was kind of a cool-ish name, right? A little more unique. You don't see that all that often. Plus, I always find it a bit strange when you name something after someone who's still alive. You don't want to be a narcissist like Coach K. All right, we're doing some more time traveling here, but I didn't want to leave out the David Bell news, so we just filmed a quick cold open, and now we're putting this at the end of the video. But let's get into it, all right? So Mary Kay tweeting out that David Bell has been placed on the PUP list, which stands for physically unable to perform. David Bell is one of a small group of players who will begin camp on the active/PUP list. His foot injury is not serious and should begin practicing soon. So the way the PUP lists work is you can place players on that in training camp. And what it does basically is it allows you to bring on an extra person for training camp to fill that spot. So that way the Browns can have another wide receiver if Bell is not able to perform. This is not a major concern. The only thing is I didn't know there was a foot injury at all, right? I never heard whispers of David Bell having a lingering foot injury, but ultimately, if he's not able to play, you might as well get an extra body out there just to catch passes during training camp. But here's the depth chart right now. Don't overreact to this, please, guys. This is not breaking injury news here. It is noteworthy at least, but this is not sound the alarms and start panicking type of stuff. It's just going to give Isaiah Weston, Jamarcus Bradley, Javon Wims, Michael Woods extra reps in the first couple days of training camp. Mary Kay in her article I'm reading right now literally saying this is not serious and he should begin practicing soon. But let's send some 18s down in the comments section to wish our guy David Bell a quick and speedy recovery. So type his jersey number 18 down below if you want to see David Bell back on the gridiron soon.